Ouais, oui, c'est bon. Je vais pas crier dans le micro. Bonjour
Am
à
I
tous,
yelling?
merci d'être
Yes.
là
Wait.
pour cette
Hello.
petite conférence qu'on
Welcome
va
for
faire
being
donc
here.
sur Valorise.
Welcome to everyone. Thank you for being
Valorise,
here.
un outil
This is called
qui a
Valorize,
été
which
développé
is a tool
l'année
developed
dernière par l'ANIA,
last
la
year
SCD, la FEF et COP de
by
France en partenariat avec Greenflex
Anya,
pour proposer un
OP,
outil d'auto-évaluation
FCD,
RSE
and this is
entre
a
fournisseurs et distributeurs.
CSR self-evaluation for
Je remercie
vendors
déjà
and retailers.
Béatrice et Florence
So I want
de
to
leur
thank Beatrice
présence,
and
qui
Florence
vont
for
un
being
peu
here.
nous témoigner de
They're going
l'utilisation de
to
l'outil Valorise
share with
dans
you
leur
about
enseigne,
their use
comment
of the
elle
tool
s'intègre dans leur
Valorize,
démarche
how
RSE.
it's used in their
Elles prendront la
CSR
parole tout à l'heure. Et je
procedures.
vous rappellerai dans un premier temps ce que c'est la RSE. Je ne vais pas faire très long sur le sujet. Vous présenter l'outil Valorise dans ses grandes lignes.
So I'm going to tell you a little bit about CSR, what the Valorize tool does, and we'll talk with Beatrice and Florence in a minute. And if you have any questions, we'll be happy to entertain those.
La RSE, qu'est-ce que
So
c'est?
CSR,
RSE,
what is it?
c'est pas les réseaux sociaux d'entreprise.
It's not corporate social networks, the same acronym in French. No, it's corporate social responsibility. It's the contribution of companies to sustainable development. There are standards that govern all this. It's called ISO 26000. It's an international standard. So CSR, CSO, it's a big encyclopedia that shows you how you can implement the CSR procedures. It's not requirements, they're guidelines. If you're familiar with any other standards, and this is just a guideline. So this is the basic element for,
on a trouvé que nous c'était un peu complexe pour les
and it's ISO 26000.
Donc en 2012,
So in 2012, with COP de France and Alenia, we came up with a method guidebook for this specifically in the agri-food business. So it was ACX 030, okay, maybe not that sexy, but CSR in agri-food, what's it all about? And this document made CSR more operational for people in agri-food.
Ce texte-là, qui est un texte français, on est
It's a French document, but it's being internationalized to make it the first international document in CSR in different sectors. So it'll be ISO 26030, and that will be specifically for the agri-food business. Now, why is CSR such an important topic today? We've heard about that in just general food protection and initiatives, but in France, well, there are 5 elements that are stressed. It's a market differentiation, standing apart. We see that in wine. When you have SD procedures, it opens up to new markets, such as in Quebec or in the northern countries, Sweden, Norway. Having a CSR procedure in place gives you access to other markets, you have a regulatory context that you need to comply with. Before it was voluntary, completely voluntary. You could be CSR oriented if you wanted to, and then over the past 10 years, we're seeing reinforcement of the regulations. So all structures have to publish their SD initiatives in their annual report if they have over 500 employees. They have to be vigilant about what their suppliers are doing in CSR in big companies. And then you have anti-corruption procedures. It went from voluntary about 10 years ago to more compulsory situation now. So a lot of competition as well. CSR is of interest, but ultimately it comes down to how much does it cost and what's the return. We hear that a lot, so it's hard to actually give you the answer to that. The initial studies published last year by French Strategy shows a correlation between engaged, committed companies in CSR and their performance gains of 13%. So there's some initial
de faire un lien entre
signs
RSE
that enable you to
et
make the connection between CSR and
on a aussi une question
competitiveness.
de notoriété de l'entreprise.
There's also brand identity, brand image, company image. 10 years ago, image risk was was not in the top 10 risks. Now it's in the top 5. That's quite important.
Il y a pas mal d'études en fait qui sont
There are lots of studies based on this.
RSE participe entre 40 et 50% dans
CSR contributes
construction de l'image de
to
l'entreprise.
40 to 50% of a company's image. So having a CSR procedure improves brand identity and image reputation and corporate reputation. Sorry.
Le lancement et le déploiement de cet outil Valorise, c'est
Lastly,
qu'aujourd'hui, et puis en plus c'était la présentation avant, c'était sur les
just that previous presentation, there's an impact on consumers and customers. There's been a lot of development over the past 10 years in terms of consumer needs and expectations. We need more transparency. We want products that are environmentally friendly, respectful of humankind. So vendors, co-ops, and I'm from Co-op de France, so I represent cooperatives. So we're involved in CSR to offer products that meet consumers' needs and expectations, and as a bit of a ricochet effect, customers as well, so distributors, retailers, wholesalers, who today require their vendors to communicate on their CSR initiatives. So that's why we created our platform called VALORISE, or VALORISE, and this arose from initial exchanges in the trade fair, based on the need to have some place to exchange, to discuss about CSR for
la RSE, c'est un vecteur de communication
suppliers. So it's a positive communication vehicle, especially in the agri-food industry, which has a hard time as regards image. So good practices in the agri-food industry spotlight efforts that have been made. So 2-3 years ago, we had many retailers who asked their suppliers or vendors to answer questions on quality initiatives, CSR initiatives, and so on. So we had tons of different questionnaires out there.
Pour le fournisseur, c'est pas forcément très intéressant puisque ça lui prend pas mal de temps.
So it's not all that exciting for suppliers because it takes a lot of time to fill out questionnaires. So the idea was to have a single tool to centralize everything, a single questionnaire, which would be shared across all of the retailers on the platform. So vendors ended up with just a single questionnaire to be shared with the rest of their customers present on the platform. So with the desire there to have a tool that would be available for smaller businesses.
On a fait donc une démarche partenariale.
So we did a partnership approach with ANIA and FCD, FEEF. These are individual family enterprises and their cooperatives. So we established a partnership there with Greenflex, because developing the IT platform for Federation, that's kind of not their field, so we needed, not our field, so we needed experts in software development. Plus they know CSR really well, so we needed their help to produce this tool, to make CSR available for everyone, and to be able to share information across vendors and retailers. So, behind VALORISE or VALORISE is something simple. So you answer a single questionnaire. Throughout the year, easy. The questionnaire is easy to use. Everything's explained. It was established between vendors and retailers. I'm sure you recognize some stuff here. And developing a tool to help as many as possible in establishing their CSR initiatives. So the idea ultimately is VALORISE would be to promote all of the good practices out there. So actually hoping to get everyone on board, so hopefully increasing onboarding and getting everyone to share and appreciate the tool. So that's the concept. That's what Valorize is all about. Now I'm going to hand over to Béatrice, Jory, and Florence.
Qui sont des enseignes qui sont
These
déjà
are
aujourd'hui engagées
brands that are already
dans l'outil Valorise.
engaged, committed, and using Valorize. So let me start with Florence.
Aujourd'hui, comment cette réflexion s'est faite au niveau de
tell
Carrefour
us
sur l'intégration, enfin l'utilisation
how
de
you
l'outil
got involved
Valorise.
in using the tool at Carrefour.
Bonjour à tous. Ça ne marche pas. Allô, allô? Oui. Bonjour à tous. Donc, merci Benjamin pour cette introduction.
Thank you, Benjamin. Hello, everyone. I'm Florence Dubuis. I'm in charge of CSR products at Carrefour. Carrefour, 10 years ago, developed an internal CSR self-evaluation tool for vendors so that they could, across the world, audit themselves. So just naturally, when the profession and our vendors asked us to pool the tool and share it with other companies, that's when we decided we wanted to start contributing to and participating in rolling out this tool. So we're very proud of it. And the initial campaign that was carried out in 2017, so we're encouraging all of our vendors to participate in self-evaluation, self-assessment, because we are convinced that this could improve relations between Carrefour and our vendors. And together we can build sustainable relationships. So we're encouraging everyone to participate in it. We're totally sold on the project. And just quite naturally, it all happened, it all rolled out. And our experience over the past 10 years has led us to want to help improve the tool and the design behind Valorize.
Merci Florence.
Thank you, Florence. Beatrice, same question to you.
Auchan en fait se retrouve embarqué dans Valorise?
How did Auchan get on board with Valorize, and what led you guys to it, say that first year? What do you think so far after having used it? So, well, for Auchan, it was a great opportunity to get real tools for the product department and the CSR department to have a responsible purchasing policy and a responsible product policy. So we really took the opportunity to get everyone in the product department engaged. It was a way also to speak the same language with category managers and buyers on a common foundation, that's ISO 26000, and we could improve our competency across the company in CSR, but particularly the stakeholders in our product offering, because they're essential in our CSR procedure across the country, across the company. So yes, we got involved, got committed, really invested a lot in working up the referential, the repository, the ISO 26000. We worked on the document to make it as accessible as possible to all of our vendors, all of our suppliers, so that's really important for us. And today we'll be moving into the usage phase, using all the data, and that's why we're inviting we're encouraging all of our suppliers, the food, non-food, store brands, entry-level products. We really want them to get tooled up for this in terms of responsible purchasing and responsible products.
Merci Béatrice. Et effectivement, aujourd'hui, Valorise est un outil très orienté.
So Valorize is a food business, agri-food-oriented project, but there are no barriers. It can be used in different families. It can be rolled out to non-food. You can use the CSR questionnaire on other fields. Okay, second question.
Pourquoi vous êtes engagé dans
Florence and Beatrice, we saw why you got involved with Valorize, but if we look at it from a macro standpoint, how does it fit into your overall strategy?
Valorise et donc l'évaluation de vos
using this
fournisseurs et leur
tool,
accompagnement
having your
avec cette
suppliers use the
stratégie globale
tool
RSE,
and
là où vous en
evaluating
êtes.
themselves. So how does it fit into your big strategy, your big picture strategy?
Donc l'ambition du groupe Carrefour,
Well, as you may know, the ambition of Carrefour is to become the leader in the big transformation of good food for everyone, and that's quality food at a reasonable price, with additionally working on production methods of our products, working in organic foods, agroecology, packaging, and so on. We consider that the VALORISE tool is a way of offering our suppliers to, as it were, ask themselves the right questions in their companies, and then getting the right answers and becoming a part of our commitment. So it's voluntary, it's self-assessment, self-evaluation, so that they ask the right questions in CSR, get the right answers, and can offer, innovate, and be on board with our projects. So we're going to use the VALORISE tool as a sort of basis for discussion between our consumers and our buyers and our quality managers to establish a relationship that's going to be trust-based and long-term. So I think it's the group ambition, the corporate ambition, that really is a part of this tool. So we're all totally in sync, and by conducting the self-evaluation, our suppliers have everything they need to be up to the challenge and in line with our ambitions.
Merci Florence. Béatrice,
thank you very much, Florence.
Même question,
Beatrice,
avec la stratégie
same
globale
question.
d'Auchan sur,
What about how does this fit into Auchan's overall strategy? Yeah, two things. The Auchan company is changing, is transforming. We've launched some movements, very healthy. We've life in La Vie en Bleu, CSR, territorializing, really looking to work as close to the ground as possible and address many issues. And the product division folks have realized that our suppliers are very committed, and they want to go further, and they want to have common initiatives, common procedures, and VALORISE is actually the connection between all of these CSR initiatives that we're carrying out as a retailer and those that they're carrying out as suppliers, with the same conviction that in many areas, if everyone does their part, we can go a whole lot further together. So ultimately, using this tool for dialoguing between retailers and suppliers is really opening the door to opportunities that we weren't thinking about in the past in terms of our supplier-retailer relationship. We're thinking that it's an opportunity to transform the company, and in addition to hopefully transforming the world around us, because we all know that this is a time where we don't really have a choice anymore. So together we'll be able to bring about change. So it's really important for us. Thank you very much, Beatrice. It's true, it's very important. And on our end, Coopter France, we are, in our professional organization, we support the 2,600 members to help them move forward in CSR by offering many different tools, collective support, awareness raising. So it's really important. And as suppliers today, the initial feedback we're getting is positive in using the tool. I'll give you the first figures in a minute, but we are getting good feedback. But launching VALORISE allows co-ops and suppliers to save time, because you only have one questionnaire you need to fill out. What really matters is that once you've done your self-evaluation, once you've gone through all the work, when you're a supplier to big groups, it's about sharing, and sharing with all of the stores that you're working with, all of the brands that you're working with, because that's the only way really that it can lead to other projects and awareness of the CSR initiatives. It's true, you have to spotlight it, you have to make it known, and it's true, you have to communicate on the topic. You have to get the information out there. Now, we had an initial campaign in 2017, towards the end, wrapped up at the end of the year. We're relatively happy with the way that worked out, because the first year we had a lot of brands that came on board. So it's a sort of a word of mouth, and we have over 1,500 sites in the initial campaign through the end of last year, so very encouraging figures. Of course, we'll have a campaign this year, which will start in spring, May, June, and it will wrap up in November. So with our determination to bring any changes to the platform and incorporate any of your changes that you've suggested, that the suppliers have suggested, to improve the user-friendliness of it, make it more convenient. So there's a lot of stuff going on to improve. And once that's done, we'll launch in June, and we're hoping to have even more suppliers on board, and hoping also to have more retailers on board to evaluate their suppliers. So Valorize, it's a new tool, came out in 2017, allowing for exchange dialogues between suppliers and retailers on CSR. You can see we're here, we're present, we really believe in the tool, and we think in the upcoming years it's going to grow even more and allow and support major stakeholders in the agri-food business. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free. Our half hour is gone, I believe, but we're happy to answer any questions, or you can get in touch by mail. Thank you. By email. Thank you.
Des questions? Non? Non? On a été formidable, c'est pour ça.
Questions? No questions? We were amazing then. Well, thank you.
Merci à vous.
I guess we can't stay any longer. Thank you all. Goodbye. Why do you only have all of the retail brands that have participated? Why don't you have the numbers for the suppliers? You mean, why do the retailers use it? Well, our suppliers use it to answer the questions, right? To be in line with what the distributors, what the retailers want, but suppliers can use it too if they want to evaluate their own suppliers, of course. But we're just in our first year, and that's sort of the trial and learn phase right now. We just confined ourselves to that one link in the chain, retailers towards their suppliers. But absolutely, a supplier could use the tool to evaluate his suppliers, of course. But we just, had to limit ourselves on that in our first year, because it was quite a huge undertaking. So the suppliers, you control, you inspect the suppliers, or how does that happen? It's self-evaluation. That's really important. It's not inspection. There's no requirement for proof. There's no request for proof. It's self-evaluation. So the suppliers internally assess themselves, evaluate themselves. They can add exhibits. They can send attachments. They can ask for anything they need. It's not an inspection. There's no inspection. There's no monitoring. It's just it's all self-motivated. And why self-evaluation? Well, we figured that was the most educational vehicle. Because if we started immediately out with audits or document inspection, the message would not have gotten across. So we figured that self-assessment, self-evaluation would gradually enable us to accompany, help the suppliers in establishing their CSR procedure. That's very optimistic. That's a very optimistic vision.
L'idée, c'est vraiment que les fournisseurs
Well, the goal is really
entrent dans une démarche RSE,
that
c'est-à-dire les contrôler,
these suppliers start a CSR
ils entrent dans une démarche
procedure, not to force them or inspect them. Now, does it cost anything to be involved? Yes, it's 70 euros per production site. But the financing is shared between the retailers and the suppliers, because as retailers, we pay members' dues of 1,500 euros a year, and we renew that every year. And then the suppliers have to pay 70 euros per site, per location. That's being assessed. Okay, so if you have different locations, internal or external, you have to pay 70 euros per site. Yes, shaking head, yes. Even if it's like rank 2, what if there's direct suppliers or they're just part of a store multiple? That's a different business model, though. That would be supplier and orderer. We're working on establishing that business model. So right now, can't really say more on that, because it's certainly it's right now under construction. And our outlook was to share the CSR content with our direct suppliers. And the reason it's self-evaluation is because it's dialogue. It creates dialogue. The ability to add attachments, documents, CSR reports, and certifications, and that. Of course, that's really important, because the Valorise users are going to question their supplier partners on their self-evaluations that they're conducting, because it's not to have a star, 5 stars, or whatever. It's to support those stars or support the situation with a body of evidence. I think we need to stop, because otherwise we're going to get in trouble with we're going to encroach on the next speaker's time, and we don't want any fights here. So thank you, and feel free to get in touch. Thank you. And enjoy the rest of the trade fair. Thank you, Beatrice and Florence.